The Zephyrian High Command had seen the recordings a dozen times, but Commander Vexthai still couldn't believe what his compound eyes were witnessing. On the holographic display, the creature known as the Void Render tore through the 47th Mechanized Division like tissue paper, its obsidian claws cleaving through battle mechs as if they were made of sand. The beast stood 3 stories tall, its hide rippling with bioelectric energy that could short-circuit any technology within 100 meters. It had consumed 17 different species armies across 12 star systems, leaving nothing but crater-marked worlds in its wake. How many battalions lost? Vexthai's mandibles clicked nervously. 14,000 souls, his aide reported, the translator failing to capture the grief in the Altarian's harmonic speech. The creature seems to feed on conflict itself. Every weapon fired at it only makes it stronger. The Galactic Council had declared the beast an extinction-level threat. Evacuation protocols were already in motion across the Outer Rim. Some species had begun preparing their death songs, accepting that this was how their civilizations would end, devoured by an entity that seemed to exist purely to consume organized warfare. Then humanity had volunteered. One ship? Vexthai's antennae twitched in disbelief. They're sending one ship? The human vessel Prometheus barely registered on their scanners. No massive weapons arrays, no planet-cracking missiles, no reality-warping engines that the younger species were so fond of. Just a small research vessel with a crew of 12 humans and what their manifest listed as cultural archives and linguistic databases. Admiral Sarah Chen had requested permission to approach the Void Render alone. The request had been granted, not out of hope but out of respect for a species willing to make such a futile gesture. The Galactic Fleet maintained a safe distance of 3 light minutes, their sensors trained on what they assumed would be humanity's final moments. Dr. Elena Vasquez pressed her palm against the viewport, watching the creature tear through the abandoned mining facility on Kepler 442c. Even from orbit, its roar reached them through subspace vibrations, a sound that spoke of endless hunger and ancient rage. The quantum resonance patterns matched the theoretical models, she murmured to her research partner, Dr. James Wright. It's not from our dimension. The electromagnetic signatures suggest it's been phased into our reality from somewhere else, somewhere where different physical laws apply. The real question, Wright replied, adjusting his scanner, is why did it come here? What drew it to our universe? Chen's voice crackled over the comm. Dr. Vasquez, we're in position. Are you certain about this approach? Elena's throat felt dry. 3 years of research had led to this moment. The Void Render wasn't just a mindless destroyer. The patterns in its movement, the way it responded to different types of military formations, the biorhythmic pulses it emitted, it all suggested something far more complex. Take us down, Admiral, and broadcast on all frequencies. I want every ship in the fleet to hear this. The Prometheus descended through the planet's atmosphere, its hull groaning under the stress. The Void Render sensed their approach immediately, its 6 eyes turning skyward like burning stars. It abandoned the ruined mining facility and began moving toward their landing coordinates, each step causing seismic tremors that registered on their instruments. Elena walked down the ship's ramp alone, her environmental suit's speakers activated for maximum range. Behind her, the crew watched through the viewport, their faces pale but determined. Across the galaxy, billions of beings held their collective breath. The creature approached, its footsteps shaking the ground beneath Elena's feet. This close, she could see the intelligence in its eyes. The way its head tilted slightly as it studied her, it raised one massive claw, bioelectric energy crackling between its talons, preparing to strike. Elena looked up at the towering beast and whispered a single word. Cathara. The Void Render froze mid-swing. The crackling energy faded. For the first time in recorded history, the creature that had devoured armies came to a complete stop. I know what you are, Elena continued, her voice carrying across the planetary comm systems. You're not a destroyer. You're a guardian, a protector displaced from your home dimension, searching for something that no longer exists in our reality. The creature's massive head lowered until it was level with Elena. She could see her reflection in its obsidian eyes. In our oldest languages, the ones we spoke before we reached the stars, your name meant shield bearer. You weren't hunting us, Cathara. You were looking for us, looking for the people you were created to protect. The beast made a sound unlike its previous roars, softer, almost questioning. Elena reached into her suit and pulled out a small device containing humanity's complete linguistic and cultural database. "Your creators are gone from this dimension," she said gently. "But their children, all of us, every species you've encountered, we carry echoes of them in our languages, our stories, our dreams. You've been lost for so long, fighting phantoms of the wars you were meant to end." Commander Vexthai watched from the fleet as the impossible unfolded. The void render, Kethera, lowered itself to the ground, its massive form curling around the tiny human figure like a cat seeking comfort. The bioelectric storms that had raged around it for decades began to calm. Elena activated the cultural database, and suddenly the air filled with songs, stories, and languages from 1,000 worlds, all containing fragments of the ancient tongue that had first named the Guardian. Kethera's eyes began to glow with a different kind of energy, not destructive but healing. "You don't have to fight anymore," Elena whispered, placing her hand on the creature's snout. "You can rest now. You found us. You found your people." As the galactic fleet watched in stunned silence, the beast that had terrorized the galaxy began to fade, its form becoming translucent. But there was no violence in this dissolution, only peace. Kethera was finally going home, returning to the dimension where its creators waited. Before it disappeared entirely, the ancient guardian looked one last time at the human who had spoken its name. In its eyes, Elena saw something that would haunt her dreams in the best possible way: gratitude and the profound relief of a soldier finally allowed to lay down arms. The recordings would be studied for generations. Scientists would debate the quantum mechanics of dimensional displacement and the nature of protective entities. Philosophers would argue about the significance of names and the power of recognition. But Elena knew the simple truth that had saved them all. Sometimes the most fearsome monsters are just lost children, looking for someone who remembers their name. In the years that followed, as the galaxy rebuilt and expanded, humanity's reputation preceded them. They were the species that had stopped the unstoppable not through superior firepower or advanced technology, but through something far more powerful: the willingness to listen, to understand, and to remember. And in the deepest archives of human cultural preservation, Elena made sure that the name Kethera would never be forgotten again.